You get to Stewart-Haas Racing, and in 2017, you finally get to hoist that Harley J. Earl
Mm.
Trophy up. What was that like?
Well, let me tell a couple stories that led in that led into that. I finished third my first ever time at Talladega. I was a rookie. It was my first Sharpie ever sponsored race. And I was just sitting there on the inside lane, just minding my own business. And Bill Elliott go driving by. I'm like, okay, all right. Dale Jarrett goes driving by. All right, I'm just going to hang out right here. I can't remember who I followed. But it was like those guys would get cycled back behind, and I wasn't going to make a move. I'm running third. I'm just going to hang out here and cash these chips. Got third. Over time, there'd be the second place finish. I had three second place finishes at the Daytona 500. Got a bunch of top fives at Talladega, bunch of top fives, top tens in the summer race at Daytona, Talladega in the fall. My main story there was this is 2007. I'm having a really good year, and Jimmy Johnson's running sixth. I'm running seventh. Sorry, this is 2009. 2009, I was in Penske, Miller Lite Dodge. I'm running right behind Jimmy Johnson. It's like halfway through the playoffs. I'm only down by call it 20 points, which is 5 positions in the old system. And here comes Brad Keselowski around the outside, and he's in the Mukasuki car that had won previously. I'm like, oh, man, Brad, I'm going to go and just jump in front of him, use him. He's going to push me to the win, and I'm going to finally win a restrictor plate race, and that's going to help us in the points in the playoffs. Get in front of Brad, poof, poof, inside fence that fast. Done. And I lost in what would be the equivalent in today's system, 30 points. I ended up finishing fourth in points that year, 27 points or something in the new math behind Jimmy Johnson. That one decision to jump out and try to win a restrictor plate race for my first ever time backfired, and it took a championship run away. That then put this mindset in, just a plate win will happen when it happens, but don't hurt your playoff chances going for it. So that's why it took so long to win a plate race. And that's where 2017 Daytona 500 was like the perfect storm. And what I mean by that is at Stewart-Haas, we were a Chevy team, and we were switching to Ford. And I was sitting there just as soon as I heard the news, hey, Doug Yates, how's it going? Looks like we're going to be teammates again. You know what kind of steam that I'm hoping for Daytona. Obviously, Doug builds quality engines for all the Ford teams. They're all within 1 or 2 horsepower, so there's nothing special there. But it felt special in my heart that we were switching to Ford. And I had Tony Gibson, who had won restrictor plate races with Jeff Gordon and with Dale Jr. He was my crew chief. I looked at him, and I'm like, we're doing this. And that was back in October, leading into that February race. That is how much I just wished it to happen. I manifested it to happen. I really pushed and focused. And our qualifying race, we weren't that fast. And I looked at Gibson, and I go, do you think that we're that good? He goes, no, we're not that good. And we both agreed, we got to go to work. We polished on that car as best we could. We might have been one of the first teams with an alternator switch where we could shut the alternator off and gain 2 horsepower. But you risk the battery going dead and the car shutting off. It was just a perfect storm at the end of that race because it turned into an old school. This is the 2017 Daytona 500. It turned into an old school fuel mileage race. We all pitted at the end. It was about 50 to go, and we could go 48 laps on a tank. Tony Gibson said right away, we got it as full as we can get it. You know what to do now. What that meant was we don't need to lead. We don't need to tow the field around and burn up fuel. And I just sat there and rode. I wanted to be in third. That was my magic number, and I believed in it because that's where I was when I finished at Talladega, my first ever restrictor plate race. And that meant I was close enough to the front, but not burning all my fuel. And towards the end of the race, there goes Chase Elliott. He's going for the lead. Oops, he's out of gas. Truex, he goes up for the lead. He's out of gas. And I was just sitting there riding. I'm just waiting for my one move, and it all worked out perfect to pass Kyle Larson on the last lap going into turn 1. And when the pack broke apart, it was like my car just lunged forward, and the rest of them got stuck side by side for a little bit. And I was clear by 5 car lengths when I made that move. And when the spotter said, you're clear by 5, and I was on the middle of the back straightaway. That's when I knew I had it, and I came off turn 4, and it was black and white everywhere. Like I remember it so vividly. There was no colors, no nothing. It was just black and white, and I just saw the flash bulbs going off, and I was like, "Yeah, we made this happen, and we made this happen for a long time."